It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, so Christopher Luxon's $8,000 rates relief on his Waiheke mansion is a slap in the face to struggling Kiwis, I reckon. You can't make this up. Christopher Luxon, the Prime Minister, who tells the rest of us to live within our means, has saved $8,000 in terms of his rates bill for the year. So it's $25,000, it's now $17,000 on his $10 million Waiheke Island property that he says is not worth $10 million. $8,000 on a property most of us couldn't afford to walk past, let alone own. This is the same man who's refused to cap rates increases for ordinary New Zealanders like you and me. The same guy who says councils need to be fiscally disciplined while families in the suburbs are cutting back on food and fuel and school costs to survive. But Luxon, he's mortgage free and still he's asking for help with his rates bill. Can you just lower it for me, please? Let that sink in. He's worth millions. And I'm not anti-wealth. I think wealth's really important, okay? Because this guy's wealthy, right? And wealthy people create jobs, right? So he's worth millions. He owns this luxury retreat on Waiheke, and the system still finds a way to funnel him $8,000 in fewer costs. The kind of support meant for people doing it tough, not people with a personal vineyard view of the Hauraki Gulf. It's the hypocrisy that stings, I think. Because while you're being told to suck up the rates hikes and shoulder the cost of living, the Prime Minister is laughing all the way to the bank again. I mean, when you're being told to suck it up, he's getting $8,000 less in terms of his bill for owning this property. So it's the bill is suddenly $8,000 lower. And he's telling you to suck it up. He talks about fairness and responsibility. We're all in this together, but are we? Together doesn't mean him. The optics are appalling. How does it look when the guy running the country, mortgage-free, sitting on multi-million-dollar assets, still takes it's a handout, while pensioners are skipping meals and renters are drowning? It looks like what it is. One rule for the rich, another for the rest. Luxon loves to talk about leadership, about doing the right thing. Well, here's his moment. Admit it's wrong, mate. Or better yet, fix the system so people with $10 million beach houses don't qualify for reduced rates, for taxpayer or ratepayer funded relief, while working families, they can't get a break. A $10 million house for average working family, that's the sort of thing that you might win in an American lucky lotto draw once every 500 years. Because out here in the real world, people are hurting. They're paying more. They're earning less, and they're being told to be grateful for the opportunity. Meanwhile, the bloke at the top, the one who promised to bring integrity and accountability back, has his rates quietly trimmed on the side. On a house most Kiwis will only ever see on Google Earth. Most New Zealanders can't even afford to take their family on the ferry to Waiheke. It's the truth. It's not just tone deaf, it's bloody insulting. And if Luxon can't see that, then he's way more out of touch than I think we feared. He's the same Prime Minister who refuses to cap rates, who lectures councils and households about fiscal discipline, who tells us all to live within our means. Meanwhile, he's out there in Waiheke, mortgage-free, cashed up, and still claiming extra help. It's obscene. This isn't leadership, it's hypocrisy. And I would have thought he would have learnt from the last time. Luxon bangs on about personal responsibility, but when there's a loophole to benefit the rich, suddenly he appears to be, this is perception, it may not be true, but it's perception, he's first in line. He's got the kind of wealth that most Kiwis can't even dream of. Yet he's taking money meant for battlers, isn't he? How dare he stand in front of this country and talk about fairness? Fairness? Don't insult us, Christopher. The truth is, if you're a struggling mum in West Auckland or a pensioner in Levin, you get nothing but lectures and price increases. Have your rates gone backwards? You tell me. You get hold of me. Tell me when your rates bill went backwards. But if you're Christopher Luxon, sitting pretty on a $10 million holiday home, this is not somewhere he goes all the time. This is a holiday home. Their system rolls out a cushy little $8,000 bonus. That's what it is. When you pay $8,000 less, that means that's money that you can now spend that would have gone to the council. It now goes into your pocket. It's the worst kind of political arrogance. The do as I say, not as I do brand that makes people lose all faith in politics and politicians. And if he can't see how obscene that is, then maybe he should take a long, hard look out from the Waiheke deck and remember who he's supposed to be working for, because it's sure as hell not himself. And he didn't just get it, did he? He filled in the forms. He went looking for it. He knew exactly what he was doing. He had to apply for this. This wasn't an accident. This was a choice. And it's an absolutely shocking one. Can you imagine Helen Clark doing this, or John Key? Because while pensioners are turning off heaters, parents are skipping meals, and renters are crushed under record cost, Luxon, a mortgage-free millionaire, is tapping into a support scheme meant for people who are struggling to keep their homes, isn't he? The same Luxon who refuses to cap rates. The same Luxon who lectures councils about restraint. The same Luxon who tells Kiwis there's no money left. Well, he just took the $8,000. But apparently there's money left for him. $8,000 worth of it. $8,000 in relief on a luxury island retreat that most New Zealanders will only ever see on a postcard, even if there are postcards anymore that exist. It's staggering. It's tone deaf, looks arrogant, and it's basically tone deaf beyond belief. It's exactly the kind of elitist nonsense that makes people give up on politics and give up on politicians. Let's call it what it is. It's a rort. Because when the country's leader, worth tens of millions of bucks, goes cap in hand to the system for an extra $8,000, the message is clear. The rich always find a way to get richer. Luxon loves to talk about doing the right thing, but spare us the spin, mate. Spare us the excuses. You don't accidentally apply for rates relief. You don't fill out a form for $8,000 on a $10 million mansion by accident. You're doing it because you think you're entitled to it. You are. There's nothing here that breaks the rules. That's the problem right there. It doesn't break the rules, but he doesn't get it. He doesn't feel what ordinary New Zealanders feel. He doesn't understand the grind, the sacrifice, the endless anxiety of wondering, how do you pay your bill? This is politics 2025. You go to the kitchen table, you bring your bills out, and you say, how can I afford that? He doesn't have to do that. This is not envious about wealth. Well, I want everyone to be wealthy. That's not the case, though, is it? He's not living it. He's profiting from it. So next time Luxon tells the rest of us to tighten our belts, remember this. While you're cutting back on groceries, he's cashing in on Waiheke, and he had to apply for it. That says it all. Not accidentally given. He went and asked for it. And this, remember, is on top of the $50,000 in rent assistance that he took from taxpayers when he first moved into the job. Remember that? It was only part of the $50,000, which was helped with his rent, which, to be fair, he paid back and he stopped claiming when he was outed. Now this, $8,000 in rates relief, which, by the way, doesn't break any rules. It's all within the rules. Let me be clear about that. But it's designed for battlers, not for the guy running the country. He's one of the richest guys in the country. And with all the power and influence, he's still asking for help. A Kiwi battler is our Christopher Luxon, isn't he? Maybe, just maybe, he's doing it tougher than we think. Maybe the $500,000 a year is hard to live on. Is that why he spends just $60 a week on groceries? He doesn't handle his wealth well. Maybe he's enduring a private struggle that we're all unaware of. If that's the case, maybe we should set up a Give a Little page. Maybe that's in order. Can you imagine John Key or Clark applying for rates relief as Prime Ministers? Not in a month of Sundays. Luxon has got this very wrong. He's failed to read the room, he's failed to understand the struggle that is genuinely real, and he's failed the front page test. How does it look on the front page? Not good, Christopher. And if he's really that out of touch, then he's not the man to take National to the next election, is he? It answers itself. National has an even bigger problem now on its hands. It's Christopher Luxon. I've always argued he lacks empathy with the common man and he appears aloof from the real people. Today, I rest my case.
Editor-in-Chief with Dunc in Ghana.